Peace, y'all. Peace, 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 peace. Christmas today. I hope this meets everybody well. Merry Christmas for those that celebrate. Merry, Season's greetings for everyone who doesn't. The presents is a gift. I believe that it's not about, abundance of gifts to open, presents, going in debt, just for one day. I don't buy that. Around this time of year, I believe that it's an energy that is bipolar, for lack of better words. On one hand, you come in contact with a lot of people they're filled with this spirit of, a giving spirit, a kind spirit, at least on face value. Then it's the opposite where, it's filled with like a lot of anxious, if so to speak, anxiousness, sort of pressure, because, what in this colloquial sense, what we all interpret in today's society, what Christmas time and holiday times is. Okay. The greatest gift I believe that we have to tap into, especially in today's times of in which the instant gratification, the validation, and the social acceptance of the way that a lot of things is moving around and being marketed and shown on the internet and the devices and things like that is the present as in being in the moment is the gift. Opening your two eyes is the gift, right? That's the gift. That's the perfect gift. From there you open it up and do and make, and make do what you will with. All right. You have people that didn't make the cut today, and just sitting in awareness of, although everything might not be peachy keen and things might 100% of the things might not be in your favor, the one thing that is in your favor, on the wake up, and that is the most fragile and the most precious in my experiences, opening up and being able to have air to breathe, and you can take inventory from there. You could take inventory from there. How many problems you're not faced with. Okay, somebody did not make the cut today, and I want to tap into that. I'm not really sure. Just how unexpected this thing could go, right? It was a situation that happened out here in my town. Guy was at work. He was a police officer, state trooper, here working working at the motor vehicle, right? And I don't know the full details of the story. He lost his life, a gunshot. Okay. This was 2 days before Christmas, right? So just with that, just like many other, like anybody, like anybody else, you just never know when your number's going to be called. When you wake up, you play your number. I really, that's what it is. You wake up, you play your number. The man knows not the time or the day, the minute or the hour, right? 2 days before Christmas, So while, the most of society, I believe now around the world, even, everybody is in this everyday colloquial sense. Christmas, giving of the presents to give, less fortunate, this and that. I believe Christmas should be celebrated every day in essence. Not, I'm not speaking from a religious standpoint, or religiously even. How about that? Celebrate every day. It should be a holiday style. At least that's how I like to carry it. We don't need one day to feel grateful, and then don't feel grateful because of the presents that you're opening, right? When, you know, let's give that same energy to the presents that you open, your eyes daily. Because guess what? Someone didn't make the cut today that thought they was just going to go to work, get some get some overtime and, probably finish their shopping for their, and life happens because we don't have no control over, when we pass this form. You never know what someone else is going through. Here, while I'm worrying about if I got the latest version of the game, or the latest version of the Lexus, or if I got the latest version of the of the washer, the dryer, or whatever your thing is, right? Or the latest version of the phone, right? How about if I got the latest version of myself on the wake up, opening these eyes, right? That's what I'm on. It's a mindset. Less is more, not in terms of being less than, but it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to feel blessed and be able to share and to give. Giving someone time today, an ear to listen, is a blessing a lot of people need. Like, again, you don't know. You come in contact with people every day. You just know what someone is, what someone is dealing with. If you can look them in their eyes and their eyes tell the whole story. How intuitive are you to know when someone doesn't need you to respond, and just need you to listen, take the time, effort to listen. How intuitive are you to notice when you speak to someone and they don't give when they don't give that greeting back, when you greet someone with peace, right, and they don't give it back, what's on the other side of it? Can you tell? Yeah. And again, and season's greetings to everybody, man. It's truly a holiday. I celebrate Christmas every day. Christmas to me is not about so much of opening gifts and receiving anything. It's from putting a lot of heart in it, and really loving it, on the wake up, loving air to breathe, loving even if you don't got that latest, that latest Cadillac, loving what you got, these 2 feet. You're able to, walk down the stairs to go get you some, or be able to walk somewhere, stand on your own too, okay? Yeah, you may not have the latest iPhone to talk on, right? But, you have lips that function and a voice box that go. And you could use your mouth to open your mouth and speak to someone when they say hello to you. If you can look them in their face and say, look at them, and your mind says, yeah, you can open your mouth and speak. I just say that to say that. But other than that, man, it's truly wonderful to be here, man. We take the little things, it's easy to take the little things for granted that aren't easily measured. I'll put it that way. It's easy to take things for granted that aren't as easy to measure, or not easily measured in terms of quantity. Trying to quantify what that time meant spent. with someone that someone gave me, the time of day to listen to whatever I had on the top of my heart or on the top of my mind, right at the moment. How do you put a measure on that? That's immeasurable, right? It's invaluable, right? I was listening to I was listening to a short shout out the Funny Salesman, right? And he did a story on he was in an interview and he was talking about the Funny Salesman. He's the brother that he sells. He has a product and it's a washing product, right? And the washing product is it's like a concentrate, but he's real quick. The brother's quick. He's 1-on-1. You can't. We couldn't create him. You couldn't create one of him. He's one of those special ones, right? And he sells to a lot of famous people and things like that. But in one of his interviews, I seen it before, but it hit the dev. I saw it the day on Christmas, right? So he was talking about he knocked on this door and there was a lady there. She was not, with nothing. That wasn't her day. And she wanted them off their property. He's shot a joke at her. And I'm not going to try to remember this joke. But he shot something at her and it got her attention, right? And it wasn't even about, he shot something at her, right? And she like, well, what you selling? You know what I mean? And he was like, he shot something else at her, right? Just being funny, being himself, right? And that's his gift to the world, right? And she welcomed him in, like, I'll buy it from you, right? So she welcomed him in. And I do remember this part. He said when he got in, he seen a gun, and the gun was on the table. He was like, please don't shoot. Like, shot at another joke at her, like, please don't shoot, right? So so she was like, nah, I was actually gonna, do something bad. It was badness about to take place, man. God sent you here, right? And, I'm grateful, forever grateful, right? And he just was saying, like, in his purpose in doing what he's doing, he has, something to offer, right? And you just never know what someone's going through on the flip side of that, whatever you may be dealing with. Like, someone could be dealing with something, not to disregard what you're dealing with, right? But someone could be dealing with something, crazy, and what it was she had just lost her son, right? And she was just contemplating. She didn't want to be here no more. So that intercept, right? When the brother came to that door, right? And the little time, he's so talented, right? He can do that with everybody that he comes in contact with, right? But how do you measure that little time spent, communicating with someone? How do you measure that? How do you quantify that? Right? What value is that? It's immeasurable. It's invaluable. You can't put some of the, he talked her down. She was on the edge, right? So you can't, everything of value, in my experience, the things of most value are things that you can't put a price on, things you can't measure, in quantity, or put a price to, or set a price to. The immeasurable things, the things that are invaluable, right? You can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on waking up and being able to do it. And everybody's dealing with certain things. Everybody, no one's exempt from the trials or the tribulations in this realm. So what you wasn't able to, you wasn't able to spend Christmas the way that you wanted to, in the same manner what you have done before, or you weren't in your own place. You wasn't able to, do what it is you wanted to do, right? You wasn't able, your folks wasn't home this year, and you wasn't the present is the gift. You work with what you got. You do more with less. That's the gift. That's the gift. We have to be able to do more with less. That thing that you see on, don't get caught up in what you see on these on these things here, right? This here, that thing have a slant. And it's like you can't, don't get caught up in it. That's not real. Believe you me, I'm telling you what God loves. Looking outside of self for anything is not the way to go. You're running a rat race and you're chasing unicorns. You gotta look inside. You gotta eliminate and check inventory internally. You already have the answer if you listen. When you listen to it, you have everything that you need. You have everything that you need to achieve everything that you want. And to achieve everything that you want, it has to be aligned. It's not about stressing, stretching, and over. That's not what it's about. It's not about stressing. It's not about none of the things that, it although it's not easy, it's not hard when you look inside. When you look inside, sometimes you got to sit still. A lot of times you have to sit still and meditate. And by meditate, I mean, silence, quiet your world, because too much of the thing, looking at the, watching the news and watching too much, doing too much of the scrolls, that can get you off. It change your vibration. I was just talking to me and my son, man. Salute, bud. I was talking to the king. We was listening to some music, and I haven't really been listening to music like that. It's only certain music I like to listen to. I'm Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, now at this stage, and how I'm moving around, it has to have a vibration of. It has to have a height, right? And with that being said, I was just seeing how different music and the different instruments, right? Now we got these them Pro Tools. It's not even using real instruments. It's like a sound of an instrument, right? So it puts you in and it'll be a nice tune and a nice song and it sounds good and everything like that. And I'm more aware of what mode that frequency it puts me in, because I said, see, this tune right here gives you got a mood to it. It changes your mood, has you thinking a certain way. That's what vibration and frequency is, and that's what it does. And I was explaining in that conversation, like even how I used to work out with I started working out with things, listening to certain, then I stopped. I like to be aware of what's going on around me, so even if I'm in the gym setting, right, I like working out outside, right, but even if I'm in a gym setting, I don't mind listening to what they got playing in there, right. It's not gonna, it's not going to have me waver for what I'm on, but I don't work out listening to music, because usually, and if I did, the last thing I would do, I'll be listening to some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Just because what you're listening to is a tune and a frequency you tap into and what you're aligned with. You have to be aligned. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. It's shout out Mr. Phenomenal. You have to be in line on the wake up and how you go about your day. It's like, I could look back in a time where as though it's like you're getting out of one room, you're going into the next room, and you're getting out of one frequency, going into the next frequency. And you had to, I don't live that way no more. And everything's got to be on the height. Everything is consciousness. Everything is truly wonderful. Even the things that's not favorable. Because, guess what? For every problem that or every issue or everything that, for everything that is not in my favor that I have to deal with, I take that with the same grade, and I take with the things that are favorable and that is going my way, and that is, that, and I bundled it all up, and I'm grateful for it all. I'm thankful for it all. And you got, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. Shout out everybody that's sober and that's started their new year, going into the 2026 with their New Year's resolution and got that thing already in motion, man. It's truly wonderful. It's truly wonderful, man. And I believe that's a major key into sitting down, whether you write it out or I would suggest write it out. Everything that you do that has not that doesn't have a positive effect, write a line. Everything that you do, and draw a line down the paper. Write everything that you do down. And if it doesn't align with you in the version of you or the vision of the highest version of you, you cut it out. You cut it out. And the people that you do it with, cut it out. You have to. If it ain't good for you, you don't need it. Don't do anything that's not good for you. Anything. And if you have dealings with anybody that brings your mood down or that pulls at your mood, eliminate it. You don't owe it to them. That's not what this is. This life is what you make it. Your memory of it is not real. Your life is what you created. We're in a loop of life. The present moment is a loop in which we manifest. You manifest that loop that you're in. The only way to break the loop, you have to actually break the loop. You have to change. It's you change something one thing at a time. Once you change something, the loop is broken. Really. Now, if you go back and do it again, then you reconnected it, right? But it's routines, it's habits. That's what life is. You change your habits, you change the universe, the world reflects that. This is divine reflection. Okay? When you change a habit, the world reflects it or adjusts to you. All right? Change your train of thought, man. Stop looking at the glass, half empty, man, and look at it, half full. Everybody's working with the same cup. Whether they want to, that's what truth is. You make this thing what you need it to be. You make it what you need to be, and really be thankful. Give thanks. The present is the gift. The present is the gift. Not opening up gifts and things like that, and be grateful. Two people can get the same gift, the same exact gift, and one of them feels slighted and the other one feel delighted, right? It's the it's the mindset. The mind's the real threat. And again, let's celebrate. Let's make it a habit of being grateful and celebrating every day. Every day is Christmas. Every day is a holiday style. On the wake up. You can do what be good with waking up, and having air to breathe. Okay. Some people, don't have that. Some people ain't make the cut today. And just, remind yourself it could be worse, and it's not that bad, and it's truly wonderful, man. And I'm glad everybody, can make it, man. If you, again, if you celebrate, you can celebrate. Season greetings to everybody else. Hope everybody have a truly wonderful, great everything. This is a divine reflection, elevating worlds. I'm Drew. Peace.